we have some. I've had some really profound and interesting and really quite meaningful discussions with some of my guests. And then there's this question, which is just quite funny. Question being, have you ever peed in the swimming pool? That was the question from the last guest.
Who was it?
It was her name's
Who was
Debbie
the last
Goff.
guest?
She
Okay, cool.
is the guitarist in a band called Harriet. They're a kind of up and coming UK band. I'll send them your way. Actually, they're a really cool band, despite the question.
Yeah, the question is great.
Yeah, I mean, speaking of guitars,
Hell
have you ever peed in the swimming pool?
I did many times.
Oh, okay. Well, there's your answer. Yeah. So, well,
Yeah, I mean, everyone does, right?
Exactly. We were saying, well, if it's you can do it if it's funny, you know.
Yeah. Especially if you're a kid.
Yeah.
I guess. Yeah. Yeah. When was the last time? That would be a good question.
Yeah, last week isn't quite as acceptable.
Yeah, it's not. No, I haven't been in the pool for a very long time, so that's a good thing.
Yeah, speaking of guitars, when did you last pee in the swimming pool? Yeah, it's funny actually because we had the funny thing is, if you were to listen to the last podcast, we had a really interesting chat about all sorts of things. Really, I thought it was quite meaningful. And then, so what I need you to remind you to do is at the end of the podcast, and if you think of anything over the course of the next hour or so, see if you can keep it here so that for the next guest. It can be
cool enough.
Silly, it can be meaningful, it can be whatever. And the other thing is, at the end, I'll also get you to recommend an artist if you can, so that I can promote them a little bit, and so I can do my bit for the sort of lesser known bands of the world. This is the plan. So
by the way, your video is frozen. I can hear you well.
Oh, okay.
But the video doesn't work for some reason.
Oh, okay. I can still see myself on my end.
Okay. Yeah.
Is it?
Now you disappear it completely.
Oh, okay. That's strange. I can see myself. I'm not quite sure what to. Let me restart my video quickly. I don't know if
Okay.
Stop that. Is it disappeared now?
Now I see a still photo of you.
Yeah. Is that better?
And here you are. Yeah.
Oh, okay. That's strange. Hang on, let me just quickly
start
this up. It's 1 second.
Mysteries of the internet.
Yeah, well, it's weird because I can see myself there, so I don't know what happened with that. Yeah. It's a wonderful place, isn't it? So one thing I wanted to start with the whole kind of Luth theory and this sort of world is, rather than sort of asking directly about your process of making the guitars, I think what I'm quite interested in is things like, how do you maintain things like creativity? Because obviously it must be quite easy if you wanted to just to build quite a normal guitar, right?
Right.
But, like, obviously you've got some quite interesting designs, and I think it must be quite difficult to sort of be creative and then stay creative as well. And how do you find it? Do you find it difficult to maintain sort of creativity in this, and in terms of things like coming up with new ideas and that, or do you find you're quite a creative person?
It's always hard to do that, but ever since I remember myself as a kid, I was creative. I can pick up scraps on the ground and make something out of it, probably. And that's the way I used to live. I mean, I still live it. As a kid, I just, I created stuff out of nothing, like going out on trips with my family, and I just found ways to make my time more interested than just doing what everyone else did. I remember myself like sitting on the side and playing with rocks and sticks and just creating stuff. So ever since I was a kid, that was my way of living, like being creative. And nowadays, I mean, it brought me to being an industrial designer way before I was a luthier. And are you still there?
Yeah, still here.
Okay. It became very quiet, so
just listening. Try not to interrupt you.
All right, yeah, no worries. So yeah, I went to industrial design school and learned there, studied for 4 years, and then I actually worked in that field for about 7 years before the whole Luthery thing, and it's all kind of my life is all around creating stuff that isn't there. I mean, ever since I was a kid, I built model airplanes, RC models,
Yeah, it used to be fun.
and I was painting, I was sculpturing, so I did almost like everything artistic I can touch of. And an industrial designer brought me to the modern, more adult world of creating stuff that works for other people and I can deliver to other people. And bringing back to the Luther riffing, I at some point in my industrial design job, I felt like a little bit depressed. Maybe not depressed because it's a hard word, but bored to do a lot of plastic products for ghost companies, which I'll never get any feedback. Maybe I'll see it on the shelf one day or heard something from a friend, and then I can say, yeah, I did that. But I wanted something that really brings my my core into more meaningful moments, which is creating with my hands, not with the computer, and connecting with people. And with Luthery, I get to do that every day, especially the part where I connect with people all over the world. And it's really, I think that's the most important part for me in being a luthier is the connection part, because it's not like I'm doing guitars and someone sells them for me and I never get to hear from the customer or anything. It's always one-on-one, and the connection is amazing. I mean, I've built now, actually for NEM, it's the 200th guitar I've built.
Wow.
And already started 215. Anyways, I think about 80% of that amount is people which I still talk to them, not on a daily basis, but we're still like friends, or a connection is formed in there, which is something that you couldn't achieve with any other product which you sell online. So this experience is amazing to me.
I think
So
that
back to creativity, which your question was, how do you maintain creativity? Yeah. This is how my mind works. Goes all kind of directions.
This is perfect. It makes my life really easy because it means you love to answer the question in a sort of detailed way. I mean, so right?
Yeah, I tend to do that.
It's amazing. I love it.
So yeah, already I have 6 models and launching the 6th model at NEM, and I keep wanting to create more new stuff, but I shouldn't, because that would be too much to handle in a short time. So every time I have a little bit of spare time, which I rarely have these days, I tend to grab a sketchbook and then just throw my ideas over there. And being a designer really helps with that kind of process, because in design school they teach you how to be creative. I mean, if you're not a creative person, that would be really hard, of course, but they give you the tools to maintain that creativity and to grow that creativity out of nothing. So I use all these tools, all my knowledge, in order to direct whatever I have in my mind into the real world.
Yeah, I think it's the hardest two things in particular that I kind of picked up from what you were saying is I think one of the hardest things to do is to be creative from like from nothing, just from a
Yeah,
blank sketchbook or
yeah,
just a piano in front of you, or whatever your sort of
yeah,
creative outlet is. I find the hardest thing if I'm trying to write a song is when I just look at the guitar and go, well, there's all the notes in front of me, but I don't know where to start. And sometimes you have
yeah,
to I don't know if you find, but a lot of people say the important thing to do is restrict yourself in some way. Go, okay, I'm gonna just like maybe I'll design this new guitar, but it has to have this one thing, or I can't use this.
that's a
Do
good
you ever?
method.
Yeah,
Um, I also, I'm remembering some of the method they taught us in school, which is, it's great both for guitars and I mean, playing music and building stuff, and it's good for everything basically. I remember at some point it was if your standard tool is a pencil, let's say, then change it to something else. If it's like a Jet 3 pick,
yeah.
Plectrum, change it to something else. If you're regular to draw with your right hand, draw with the left hand, for example.
Mm.
And I even remember we had an assignment to lie upside down and draw a portrait of our friend.
Well,
So
okay.
in that way, you break everything that your brain remembers and used to, and that's where the magic happens, and something new is going out.
Yeah,
So, and nothing is really new because everything we do is based on something we saw once, even if we don't remember it or heard once. But we have this like a bank of inspirations, and then we need just to pull some things out of there and connect them, and then something new will happen, or something different rather than new, maybe.
yeah.
So the same with music. I'm not a composer or anything like that. I don't even play that well. I play okay
Hmm.
because I played since I was 15, but I don't have the experience of 15 to 40 in guitar. Yeah, because I didn't used to practice like regularly or learn sheets, music and stuff like that. I mainly improvise. That's what I'm good at. And a lot of time when I feel like I playing some riffs that I heard before or things that I did that I saw before, then I would say, okay, let's see. This one is the minor scale, but what happened if I do something that doesn't belong there? And see what I mean? It's taking like, okay, you're used to do this, and now try to do something that is forbidding, something that someone will tell you, are you crazy? Why are you doing that? Take Jimmy Page playing
Yeah,
the guitar with a bow.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's replacing the pick with something else, and
yeah,
then you create something that wasn't there.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's no, I think it's so difficult to I went through a phase where when I was sort of trying to write music, I really didn't want to sound like anyone else, and it's not like I was obsessed with. I didn't have
Mm-hmm.
to sound like ridiculously um it wasn't about sounding like a whole new kind of creating a whole new guitar sound. I just
Mm-hmm.
wanted to make sure I sounded like me. So I
Yeah,
avoided learning things from other guitarists for a while, which I think was really
exactly.
stupid because I missed out on loads of opportunities just to take in inspiration. And I think ultimately I was worried about just copying basically.
Yeah,
But I don't think I've copied as such in anything I've written yet. And I've learned lots of songs, and I teach guitar as well. So like
yeah.
I've lots of songs have gone in, and I don't think I've copied any of them yet. So and I
Mm-hmm.
don't think although I like to think I sound a bit like my inspirations, I hopefully haven't
Mm-hmm.
sort of uh hopefully haven't copied them too much. I always worry when if you play something quite catchy, and then you
Yeah,
think is that just catchy because I wrote a good thing, or is it catchy because that's someone else's song?
Yeah.
Yeah, there's always that little
Yeah, I
worry
get
in
it.
my head. There was one riff I wrote. I was like, I'm sure that's not my riff. I don't know, but it's in a song now,
Yeah.
so it's done. But one thing I found really interesting is that you've got quite unconventional designs,
Hmm.
particularly with the sort of geometric shapes in the
Hmm.
guitars. Is that something about you in terms of, do you like to be sort of unconventional in how you're kind of creative with these things? Because it's
Yeah.
obviously so if you your more standard guitar shape, the guitar shapes, they're quite
Hmm.
relatable in that we've got the kind of the pointy sort of super strat style shape.
Right. Yeah.
Obviously, it's your own sort of interpretation of that.
Yeah.
But then obviously putting the geometric element
Yeah.
into it, you've really kind of got your own spin with that. Is Like I said, do you find that you like to create unconventional things, or was that just something that came about that you thought that's really cool? I really like that.
No, there's an interesting story there because first of all, the whole geometric thing, it's way before guitars for me. I mean, um, it's something about, for me, it's I'm taking this inspiration for nature, and if you put like leaves or things like that under a microscope, you'll see all the fractal things and uh, geometric shapes, which if you take, I like contrast in everything. So if it's food, then hot and cold. If it's design, so soft and hard and stuff like that. So if you take nature, which is something that is a living organism, and mathematics, which is cold and straight and definite, and you combine them, that's what you get. You get these elements, these geometrical shapes. You get all the order in chaos, you call it, sacred geometry, all these
Yin and
words,
yang.
big words for it. Yeah, and that's something that I used to explore a lot as a teenager and in my older life. So the reason I started it in guitars is one before uh, uh, once is it's because it's my interest in it, and the second is when I started building guitars, I didn't quite have the source for crazy exotic woods for tops, and I wanted to create something that is appealing as much as like a quilt maple or a burl maple or ziricot or any of those fancy tops. And since I didn't have the chance to get them, I tried to I wanted to design something that is within a standard plane top, which will bring the interest there, and that was the natural geometric shapes. And then I said, all right, most people who does this kind of making the top more interesting, it's end up with just drawing on the top or making some shapes. Everything is 2D in guitars, and I wanted to bring 3D. And since I was also an industrial designer and animation guy, also way back, then 3D is something that I don't give easily, and I wanted to bring that aspect into guitars, because guitars is most guitars are 2D contour, that's it, flat, maybe a little curve, and that's it. And I wanted to change that and work with what I got until I got the exotic woods, which is a byproduct or a side thing for me. And that's how it started. And the whole thing with the geometric shapes was to explore A, how does it look on a guitar, and B, what it does to the sound. And even C is, how do I create it in a way which feels organic but controlled. And that's where I started using the software that I've been using and created things within boundaries. I hope it makes sense.
Yeah, it does. Yeah.
Because I'm getting deep there.
No, I
All right.
understand. I'll tell you if I don't understand.
All right, great. So I started playing with numbers and mathematical functions and saw what happened if I take like a shape and scattered inside these geometrical shapes. And then when the fun starts and I started to play with it around the guitar body, and I could do other shapes of guitars and not like the Superstrat or a Tele shape, but I did, as I mentioned before, I do like contrast, and I did think in a business way of I wanted to bring again the classic and familiar shapes and give them something modern that no one else does. So combining these two, it's not like a monster that no one will accept. Because you can go overboard and do some crazy shit, but it won't get you far enough.
Yeah, I saw. I was at the guitar show in the UK guitar show in Birmingham. Saw some pretty crazy guitars there. I don't know if you've seen Crimson Guitars. He does. He has some absolutely crazy sort of designs. Also made out of all sorts of really creative.
Yeah, I really like what he does with guitars, especially with since he is working like freehand on them. Yeah, which is amazing.
Yeah,
Ben is a good guy. I never met him personally, but yeah, it seems like a brilliant luthier.
Yeah, I think it was quite interesting that he had some like I can't remember what there were so many designs made. They were like made of just the most crazy things, you know. Like I guess we could make a guitar out of this. He made like a I think one guitar had a part from a Star Wars film in it as the tone knob or something like that. I don't even know. But what the other thing that I found interesting that you were saying earlier was about how you went from working, I guess, a more, I don't want to say mainstream kind of job, but going into sort of pursuing what you love, essentially, in terms of moving away from, I'm guessing moving away from a more sustainable job to start with, at least. How was that whole experience? Was that difficult, kind of moving away from a sort of a reliable job into being a self-employed luthier? Was that like a hard process? Or
it was a crazy process because after 7 years, I mean after 6 years, I realized that it's not what I want to do anymore, and I felt like I'm just coming to work 9 to 7.
Oh, wow.
Don't get enough satisfaction, don't get enough money out of it, and I felt like I want to do something else. Even when I worked in that studio, when I done some jobs on the side for animations and rendering stuff for architects and all sorts of other companies, just to keep my mind filled with the things that I love to do. And at some point, I just realized, okay, I need to do a change here. And I've built some guitars just for fun for myself, and fell in love in the process and everything. And then I said to my wife, actually before that, I met some guys from here from Israel that have been building guitar way back. I mean, about 40 years. And lately, they did not get into the right market because they grew apart from all the internet side, and as you get older, and it will happen to me eventually, things are changing and you need to adapt, and if you don't adapt, then you cannot maintain the business as it is. So that thing happened to them, and we crossed ways, and I started working with them, trying to help them design better tools, better instruments, and do the marketing side of things for them. And they would teach me how to build and let me use the facility to start the business. So I haven't quit my day job yet, but it was like a walking side by side where I started to realize what I wanted to do. And then I notified my wife that I'm thinking about opening a guitar business.
Must be an
And
interesting conversation.
yeah, surprisingly enough, she said, "Yeah, let's do it.
Oh,
I
cool.
believe, I believe in you. You can do it. Sounds good." And I was very surprised. And at the time, we planned to bring our first kid. So that's also was like a point in the road where, all right, I'm going to ditch my day-to-day job and my income and try something completely new and dangerous, and let's have a kid.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was like jumping from a cliff.
Yeah.
And then I walked to her parents, and we talked about it, and they both were shrinks, and they both told me, "Yeah, you should totally do it. You'll be good at it." And I'm like,
that's great.
Nobody's going to stop me.
Yeah.
All right. So
you need someone to go like,
yeah,
this is crazy.
yeah. It's like I've asked them for permission, and I waited for someone to stop me.
Yeah.
And then last resort, I went to my parents, my own parents, which I thought would say, "Don't do it," and they say, "Yeah, why not? Sounds good." And it was, the support was amazingly crazy. I don't know, I still up today, I don't know how they accept it so well, but I'm grateful for that because it turned out to be exactly what they told me it would be. And even more. And to be honest, was the best decision after marrying my wife. Best decision.
You got to add that in front.
Yeah. And then so I started building the website and the designs and the brand and the ideas behind all the brand and everything, and like a business program. And then once I felt ready, then I quit my day job. I said, all right, that's it. Gave him the heads up and started my own business. And we started the shop at the other guy's shop, like doing like a barter thing where I design for them and build my own stuff and grow my business side by side. And that's how we grew. And it was about 2 years where I worked side by side with them, and then I grew up enough to move to my own place. Of course, we had a child, so the business and the child are the same age, which is good for my memory. Because I have really bad memory for dates and stuff. And here we are today.
Yeah,
it was a big decision.
Yeah. So did you, when you quit your job, had you made guitars for? So you said you'd made guitars, but had you were you already doing some orders for people before that, or did you literally?
No.
Wow. Okay, that's really cool because that to me is like that's where the big risk is, because obviously if you'd been doing like a few, say you'd go to work, come back, make them in the evening or something like that. I thought that I would assume that's how you'd done it. So it's quite cool that you've just jumped into the deep end and gone for it.
Yeah. I never would have shipped or sell a guitar which I don't have confidence in, and I didn't feel ready for that. So I just built to explore what I like in the building process, what I can do, what I can't do, what I need to improve, and everything. And looking at backwards, I see now things that I would have wanted to do, but that's how you grow and you keep improving all the time. But yeah, that's how we started. I mean, I just built some stuff for me, for a friend, and once I had a solid base of knowledge of how to do stuff and how I want the guitar to look, that's where I started advertising and taking orders. And I remember my luthiery teacher, he said, after you build about 5 guitars, you feel like the king. You know everything, you can do everything, which is not the case with me, because I never feel too confident. I still feel not confident enough with what I do. So that's a good thing, because it makes me improve all the time. But he said, okay, so after 5, 6 guitars, you feel like you can do everything. And it's only after 50 guitars that you've built, you start to realize you know nothing about guitars.
It's like the more, oh, carry on.
That's from 40 years experience talking. So yeah, he's built like hundreds of guitars, maybe 1,000.
You know, that makes me think of you know, John Cleese, the Monty Python. He has that quote about he was saying about how there's sort of an irony where, for example, there's a certain level of stupidity that you can only be, to know how stupid you are, you have to be smarter than you are. To know, I always love that quote. I don't know exactly how to find it. I've probably done it a disservice by trying to quote John Cleese.
I heard it before, I think. Yeah, it sounds sounds a bit like that.
Yeah, but one question I had for you that I thought might be a fun challenge was, you're talking about, we talked about earlier, sort of working with restrictions and sort of restricting yourself from using things like, don't use a pencil or things like this.
Yeah.
If someone said to you today, oh, by the way, I don't know, if some massive company somehow patented the whole geometric idea and for whatever reason you could never do it again, what do you think, if someone said, can you build me a guitar and it's got to do something different, what do you think would be your first thing you'd think to do?
A big question.
Yeah. Oh, I know that was a difficult question. I wasn't expecting if you come up with a good answer, I'd be very impressed.
I'll just have to start and think over the whole thing. And to be honest, I constantly thinking about the geometric thing, because my thought about it is, how long is it going to last as a feature that people would like? I mean, so my brain is keep wondering about the next thing that I should do. So it's already kind of there. Like, what if one day I didn't think about like, what if other company would do the patent on it? Because actually I tried, and it's really hard to patent over this thing. So we just didn't. And marketing-wise, a company that would steal this and write a patent would be a disaster for the company, probably.
Yeah.
Because if I was like 1 year in the market, then maybe it's a good idea. But I'm already 7 years in, 6 years in, and everyone knows my design, so it would be kind of lazy act. Yeah. But I keep thinking. So I keep thinking in a way that, what if it's getting boring, maybe for me or its customers, and I need to come up with something new. And so I still pondering over it and thinking about what can I take from nature and use and an inspiration. And there's a lot. I mean, I just need to explore, just need to test some things, explore. And in NAMM, I will present a new model which has the geometrical stuff, but also have something that I haven't done yet. So, but it's just a small change. It's not like a huge thing, but it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, I keep trying and invent myself in new ways. And I guess that maybe in 2 or 3 years from now, I would change the whole thing to something that still has the same language, the same design aspect, but would be a bit different.
Any special plans for the 10-year anniversary guitar?
No, I haven't had the chance to think about it yet.
You've got some time.
Yeah, I've got some time.
Yeah.
4 years, but it
Yeah.
flies so quickly. So yeah.
What's I heard people when you're discussing NAM taking guitars there.
Mhm.
Is that a difficult thing to do? I mean, obviously for companies like PRS or Fender
Yeah.
and all these big amp companies, they've got so much money to throw around that buying a massive
Mhm. Yeah.
a plot in NAM
Yeah.
is not perhaps something they're so worried about. Is because I'm as far as I'm aware, it's quite expensive to go to NAM,
It
right?
is. Yeah.
Especially if you don't live in LA or
Yeah.
nearby.
Yeah.
Do you think that I've heard people saying they don't think NAM will be around forever?
Yeah.
Do you think that what sort of direction is NAM going in? Can you see it lasting for a long time, and is it beneficial for you? Because I'd love to go to NAM, but maybe
Mhm.
that's just because it's so far away, and
Yeah.
you have these kind of, you see all the YouTube videos and everyone exploring it, all
Yeah.
these new
Yeah.
guitars and things. Is it quite as sort of special as it looks?
It is. I
Cool.
mean, the pandemic have done something really bad for the NAMM show, I guess, because first of all, it was canceled like 2 times, and now there's like a gap of 2 years, and that NAMM would be about, I think, 70 or 60% in the capacity, like suppose for standard NAMM, where there is no pandemic.
Yeah.
Even though there's always a pandemic at NAMM because everyone shakes hands and
Oh
everyone
yeah,
gets sick,
it's coffee
regardless of
everywhere,
COVID or not. Yeah,
licking guitars and stuff. Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy. Um, so I would speak about NAMM before the pandemic, and I would speak about NAMM after the pandemic. So before that, we attended about, I think, 3 or 4 times. No, it would be the 4th time now, I think. My wife knows better because, as I mentioned before, I can't remember it shit.
Don't blame me.
But yeah, we attended 3 times for sure. So and it was amazing. I mean, we got a lot of potential customers from there, businesses with dealers. Every time I took guitars to NAMM, I sold them over there.
Oh, okay, yeah.
Sometimes we sold the guitar pre-hand. Now I mean, from the second NAMM show, I think we already selling the guitars before we even come to the show. So that's kind of covers the trip over there, kind of.
Yeah.
Hardly, but yeah. So beneficial. Yeah, it's something that if you wanna grow your business, then that's the way. But at the same time, I've seen people who are doing NAMM and get nothing out of it. So it's really important that you know how to run your business, how to do the whole marketing things around it. Because seriously, there are luthiers and even companies where you can see the person standing in the booth and just waiting for people to arrive, and that's
I've
not
seen
how
that.
it
Yeah.
works.
Yeah.
It's not how it works. It will never work. You need to lure them, and you need to prepare everything in advance before you even come to NAMM. You need to know exactly what your target audience and who would be interested, who wouldn't. You need to know everything about the show and the people you are aiming for in order to get them at the show and make the show successful. Otherwise, you would probably lose about 70% of the potential you got there.
I remember going at the guitar show that I went to. It's probably like 10% the size of NAMM. It's much smaller. But yeah, I one really struck me that there was one booth where there were some guitars, and then there were people just kind of sat there, like they weren't even talking to each other, which I found really odd.
Yeah,
they were just kind of sat there.
There's
like,
a lot of I've seen it a lot, and that's the first thing. If someone asks me, that's the first thing I said. Do not sit on a chair and wait for someone to come.
Yeah.
Because your whole body posture, your whole confidence, your whole appearance is really important. Because when someone is like hiding or sitting or waiting for something to happen, that's intimidate people, and they just won't come and ask you, excuse me, are you selling these? It doesn't work that way.
Yeah. You need to be a people person.
Yeah. You got to be a people person, and especially with this business, because it's not a business where I build guitar and put them on a shelf in a shop, and then I never get to see how they've been sold. It's not that. As I mentioned before, every customer I interact with, I know if they like to ride bikes, I know what kind of music they listen to, I know colors they like. It's like being their girlfriend for a week, maybe longer. And and a lot of people understand the experience of getting a custom guitar from a private person. It's a different experience completely than buying it from a shop or from a semi-custom shop, like the big companies that claims to be custom. They tell me the personal stories. I had a build for a father and a son, which was great. I had a build for someone who's lost his brother, a build for someone that honored his mother in the guitar. There's like crazy stories, and everything is so interesting and appealing for me as a person. To the connection is something that I wouldn't give up in that situation. So if you are a luthier and you don't understand the meaning of having that connection, that you're doing something wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah. What's the most kind of meaningful or most interesting thing, or reason someone has built a guitar, or like what's the most interesting story you've heard relating to sort of, you're talking about someone sort of honoring their mother, or a father and son getting the guitar. What's kind of the most interesting one, do you think, or maybe the most meaningful or the funniest?
I have two of them. One is pretty emotional and maybe sad, and the other one is pretty funny.
Okay, that's good. We'll start with the sad one, and then we'll go to the funny one.
All right. So the sad one was someone who lost his child, I think was kid, and another bad thing happened that year. And I remember the main thing that I remember was he realized life is too short, and if you want something and it can bring you happiness, and it can also memorize a thing only for you, which no one else should understand or want to understand, then you should do it and not wait too long. And then he ordered the guitar, which represent of his son, and it had all sorts of elements in it to remind him of his child. So it was really special and unique build for me.
Yeah. Must have been very nerve-wracking building that.
Yeah.
It must. There's a lot of weight on that.
Yeah, but most of the builds are that way. I mean,
I guess. Yeah.
Yeah, because you don't want to disappoint, and you don't,
Mm.
and you want to nail that exactly what the customer wants. And it's so amazing. It's amazing how every time me and my wife works full time in the business, so she knows all the stories as well. And it always amazes us how 99% of the customers are truly amazing customers. I mean, really nice people from all over the world, doesn't matter. And it can be Japan, the US, Russia, whatever. And they're all nice people, really interesting stories. So it's really fun, to
Um,
interact with them.
yeah. And what's the funniest? What you said you had a
And
funny.
the funniest is someone who asked me he bought the guitar for a friend of him as a present, and he asked me to write on the back, I think was dedicated to fucking name. I don't want to name drop, but was the name of the person.
That's great.
So yeah, it was kind of funny. I think you can find it on my Instagram probably. So the name is
Yeah.
there. So anyway,
Yeah. I'll I ordered a while ago a custom guitar. I won't say the name because he's still sort of operating, but
okay.
I know what it. I think the thing is I know from having ordered a guitar before, a custom built, bespoke, unique guitar.
Yeah.
It means a lot to you because anyone that's spending, obviously you can't buy a custom guitar for a small amount of money. It's not a cheap thing.
Yeah.
So no one buys a guitar like that without it really meaning something to them, or that they really are passionate about playing guitar, which is probably why you get loads of great customers. But I had an absolute nightmare where it just basically, for whatever reason, I never ended up getting the guitar. I got my money back, but never ended up getting the guitar, which was sort of a bit sad. It's very frustrating because I thought, because for me, like I love writing songs, and I wanted something that was like unique to me, so it seemed a bit. I found it quite frustrating that I didn't feel like the builder appreciated the importance of what he was doing for me and probably for other people as well. Maybe I was just a one-off. I don't know. I don't think so, but from what I can tell, but yeah, I found that quite frustrating because I thought, like, surely with the line of work he's in, he should know that, like, it's really important to the person. You don't just order your own custom design just because like, oh, I guess I'll get that today.
If you never take it for granted. I mean, it's hard work, money people make, and the decision is not easy to just drop $5,000 on a guitar, or even $3,000, and you gotta make it meaningful for them. And for me, the clarity of who you are and what you represent and what you do is something, the most important thing in the business, more than round, spear, and frets. I mean, if I we have a method of some rules we set in stone when we started the business is keep the customer updated in everything. I mean, it starts with about 50 emails before I even cut the wood, because we just talk about everything. And then once I start the build, every time I got something to show to the customer, I take photos of everything. So eventually you get updates every other month or whenever I got something interested to see, but you constantly keep updates and know where I'm at your build. So it's very personal to you. It doesn't matter if I work on 40 guitars at a time, but I give the same attention to every customer. So you feel like I'm building the guitar for you and working my heart out on it. And eventually when you get the guitar, you have a folder with about 100 photos of how it's being built, which is something to keep for later. It's fun to watch after that. That it's not like, all right, you paid me your money and then see you in 6 months or 12 months or whatever, and when it's ready, I will contact you. That's not how the way we do stuff here, because I don't feel. I mean, I put myself in a position where if I was a customer, what would I want it to look like? Not the vision of the guitar, but the whole relationship with the. I want to know that my feelings and my opinions and my vision and my money, of course, is doing something while I'm waiting. I mean, that's what I feel. So as a customer, if I put myself in the shoes of the customer, so it's very important that we supply all of these and do it right. And I think that's what stands on top of my list of goals for this business.
Yeah.
Maintain that thing.
Yeah, I think one of the things that I found really frustrating about that whole process was, as the guitar started, basically it took a very long time for anything to happen with this guitar, and I was very out of the loop with the whole process. I really like it. I was given sort of a roughly like a 6 months time frame, something like that. And 6 months in, it wasn't even started, and we were still talking, but it was always, I'll start in like a month or a week or whatever, and it just never happened. But I think the worst thing was, the more and more he built of the guitar, the less I wanted it, because like I want to play a guitar where either, if I bought it from, I have a couple of PRS guitars. Obviously, I know I have one that was from the sort of the custom shop, not like a custom shop. It's not like one of the really, really expensive ones, but I don't know who built it, but then I don't expect to know who built it. It's not like that. But as the process went on, I got really frustrated, and it came to the point where I kind of thought, like, even if I get this guitar, I want to feel like I'm in some way connected to the process, and part of that process is the luthier or big part is being invested and I guess friendly with the luthier who, I can't imagine picking up a guitar thinking, I really don't like the guy who built this. Like, I think that would be rubbish.
That's a horrible feeling to have. Yeah.
So I think it's really important what you said about kind of being able to build relationships like that, because it's maybe not something that people would think initially, because you might think, oh, it's about being creative, it's about building, it's about having an artistic vision. But actually, like any business, it's about people, which is something that I like how I'm saying this, having never built a guitar in my life or sold one.
But you see, that's the thing. As a customer, you understand the meaning of it, and as a business person who create products, you must understand that thing. Otherwise, it means you don't understand your customers. You don't know your target audience. I mean, it's obvious for me. If you have a shop and you sell stuff that you didn't do, it doesn't matter. You have to know the people that comes to your shop. You have to know how to speak to them. It's not. It shows when you don't like your job.
Yeah.
And you don't care. It shows. It's not something you can hide. And I've done a lot of not a podcast, but when I did the live shows on the Instagram, now I just don't have the time because of all the things that went with the pandemic and stuff, and the amount of orders. So I just don't find the time anymore. So I just write like blogs here and there and share them on social about how to choose a custom guitar or a luthier to build your guitar. And it's not necessarily me. It's just a set of rules where you can you need to follow in order to, as a customer. A lot of customers doesn't know how to do it. I mean, there are customers who are too scared of it and just don't do it. There are customers who will do it, but not sure what to expect. So they just throw the money on someone and either had luck or not. And there are customers that will explore every single detail in the process of choosing someone to build the guitar, which is good. And I tend to write and share every now and then how to choose the right luthier for you. And there's a lot of things that are important to know before doing that step.
Yeah, that's it's one thing I found interesting. So one last question I had to kind of finish up with, and then I'll ask you to ask a question for the next guest and recommend a little artist.
No, I did not answer about the NAMM future.
That's okay. I've got something that I think might be more what's the word? Kind of more almost useful for anyone who wants to take inspiration. Because I was going to ask what is like maybe the biggest challenge you faced being a creative person in a business world. What's the sort of biggest challenge you faced in that regard?
I guess when you have a low spot where how do I go? Let me think about it for a while.
Mm-hmm. It's a difficult question.
Yeah, it is. I mean,
it's the best kind of questions.
When you feel a little bit down because something, you have a low spot in your life, doesn't matter what it is, then suddenly you have a creation and artistic block. How do you call it? A creation block?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of writer's block, but
writer's block. Yeah. For me, a lot of time, stress and deadlines does the opposite. They make me move, and then I finish stuff before time. So that's a good thing. But yes, sometimes when I'm when there's nothing happening and the stress hits you, that's where I get the writer's block. But if I have things to do and I'm stressed about it, then the opposite occurs. So I work faster, I work better, because my mind is keep trying finding solutions, or in a pool when you pee. No, not when you pee, but when.
Yeah, how do I get out of this?
Yeah, in a pool when you swim, then you are going forward, and if you stop, you sink, right? So when you feel like you're stuck and doing nothing, you're going to sink in it and make it worse. So you have to keep moving. And that's what I'm trying to do all the time when I'm feeling stuck.
Yeah, like Rocky.
Yeah. So it's either leaving what you do and do something else, but don't do nothing. All right. So you can't play for shit now. Just leave the guitar, do something else creative, and then get back to it after a week or after a day or whatever works for you.
Yes, I think. Huh?
Yeah. Sorry.
I know. Definitely know the feeling of you don't feel great, so you don't do anything because you need a break. You're stressed. You need a break, and then you take a break and you realize you're not doing anything, and then you get more stressed. And I think it's I think there's how everyone thinks, oh, I need time off. I need time away from. I need a holiday, and it's just I think actually probably the last thing you need is a holiday. The first what you need is some meaningful work, and like obviously you've gone and pursued that yourself, which I think is really, really cool and inspiring for people who might be thinking, oh, do I go and pursue that thing? Because like you're saying about that customer of yours who ordered that guitar, that there's life's only so long. You can't you can't stay in that job forever if you don't like it, or you can, but it'd be pretty boring. So I think that's a good place to end. But I will so I'll ask you And the question, as you can probably tell from the nature of your question for the next guest can be whatever you like. It can be funny, it can be meaningful, it can be a technical question, it can be anything you like. There's no rules.
Yeah.
As long as it's not the same as the last question.
Of course.
And then if you could
it won't be the same. Haven't you listened to the whole conversation before? It's got to be different.
Yeah.
If you had a a press machine that squeezes, like in terms of tons,
yeah,
what would you put inside to crush?
Okay, cool. So like the hydraulic pressure machines.
Yeah.
Okay, that's an interesting one, and I'm wondering if the next guest is going to say something like literal, like I don't know, just something.
My face.
Yeah, yeah. Or are they going to say, or they might say something really profound and meaningful, like, I don't know, some sort of metaphorical answer.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's loads of room for that. We'll see what they say.
Religion.
I
would put religion in.
Yeah, they'll pick something really deep and profound, and I'll just whoa, I didn't expect that.
Yeah,
maybe I will now.
That's great.
Yeah, cool, excellent. And also, if you could recommend an artist, and it doesn't necessarily have to be a small artist, but maybe one that you think needs a bit more credit or has done something cool lately that you really like, that would be awesome.
Okay. You want it now or in private?
Yeah. If you can, yeah.
Okay. Maybe why not go with either Daniel Tompkins?
Yeah.
Which is my endorser, and I really like him.
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
I actually played a gig with him.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. It was his band Tesseract played an acoustic show with a couple of other bands, and my band was on the show with him, so it's quite cool. It's unfortunately didn't see your guitar there because it was an acoustic show and he was just singing.
Yeah,
but
I have actually. He doesn't play with it on Tesseract. He does his personal projects with it.
Yes, yeah.
I'm building him now a 7-string for the next project, which maybe he will also play in Tesseract. I don't know yet.
Wow. Okay.
Cool. Yeah. So yeah, Daniel Tompkins or I don't know.
That's a good answer. We can I think that ties it up. That's a really nicely tied in answer because I know Dan or no, I'd say know him. We've spoken before, cool. and I think his music's really cool. Phenomenal voice as well.
Yeah, amazing. So, one of the best for me.
Yeah, awesome. I think that rounds it off quite nicely.
I would put him, Maynard James Kinnan, and Michael Ackerfold.
Okay, cool.
Top 3, and Fiona Apple.
Cool. Okay, nice. Yeah,
top 4 for me.
Yeah, the one thing with Maynard is I found I really like his voice, and then sometimes he will sing very because they sing in very weird time signatures and things, and he sings like very on. If the song is if the rhythm is in 5, he will sing 5 words. And I find it a bit like, can you not you don't have to sing 5 words just because there are 5 beats. I just find that.
Yeah, but it's not all the time.
No. No, he is very I mean, Tool have done some awesome.
Do you listen to Pussifer?
No, not really.
All right, you should start.
Oh, okay. I tried A Perfect Circle.
A project that's also great. I mean, it's more than great. That's my 3 favorites: Perfect Circle, Tool, and Pussifer. Pussifer is just amazing. It's him and Karina Round, which is also from the UK, I think. She sings amazing, and yeah, that whole band is just does some crazy stuff. The last album was just amazing. Try
awesome. Them. I will check them out. Yeah, and do you have anything also that you like to promote for yourself? I guess the obvious one is guitars, but
obviously, I'm Omer from OD Guitars.
But if there's anything you want to let people know, in particular, anything new and exciting, then feel free.
Yeah, we're doing now a run for the Minerva, which is a headless model.
Yeah.
So there's like 6 spots left, and it has a special price now. So if you want to jump on that wagon, then do it today. And it's limited. So yeah, and NEM is on 3rd till the 5th of June, which is
Not long.
Yeah, it's really close. And we would be there presenting 3 models. One is new, and a special art display, which would be really awesome, related to the Lego brand.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Excellent. I won't ask you to spoil too much.
Yeah, that's maybe too much. Yeah, can keep my mouth shut.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, if you're in around NAM, California, come pay us a visit.
Cool. Awesome.
We'll drink, we'll eat, and talk guitars.
Yeah, that sounds bro. I might come to California now.
Yeah, if you ever arrive, then just hit me up and I will set you up with a badge for the interest. Yeah.
Oh, excellent. Yeah, no, I'd love to go to it. It's such a I really want to go, but it's so expensive for me, and so
yeah, I know. Especially now with the fuel and everything, it went up like crazy.
I think also, actually, I suppose technically, because I teach guitar, I think I can technically make it tax deductible to go to NAM.
Probably,
it might be difficult though, because trying to explain on the phone to them, like, so I flew to LA and then I went to a guitar show. I drank loads and then I came home. I don't know if they'd be so impressed.
I think they would if you put the right words in here.
Yeah, maybe exclude the drinking and
exclude the drinking. Doesn't matter. No, just your base customers are in the US. That's why you need to go to the NAMM, which is the biggest exposition for musicians, not musical instrument musicians. And you will find all your customers there and widen your base and
exactly. Amazing. Yeah.
Take it from here.
I'll try my best. Yeah. Cool. Yeah. Well, thank you for that. I'm going to I'll finish up. I need to go and have my morning coffee as well. Actually, after, like I said, that gig was so late last night that that I just it's about driving back from London. It was very long. So thank you for coming on the podcast.
No worries. Cheers. It was fun.
I had a great time and very interesting interpretation of some of the things. So thank you.
Yeah, no worries. Anytime.